Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kiki and Kibitz. It's me, Mary, coming to you on this 90-day Sunday, September 14th. Better late than never with my 90-day fiance, The Other Way recap, season 7, episode 1, C'est la vie. And this episode was brought to you by the letter D for delusional and dramatic. Let's hop right into this. So, first off, we have Chloe. She is from Massachusetts. She's young, way younger than me. She's 24. And you know it's bad when the episode starts with your friend driving 4 hours to one, not only say goodbye, but two, to really try to talk you out of what you're doing. Okay, so you know it's bad when it starts off like this. Chloe cartwheels into her confessional. She's cute with blonde hair and a really deep tan. Okay, well, she fell in love with a pirate. Yes, you heard me right. Johnny the pirate works on a party boat in Aruba, which, by the way, I will be in Aruba in exactly 2 days. So he works on a party boat and they met. And at first, he was a real cocky son of a bitch, but they fell in love. Okay. They met at a bar later that night. She realized how sweet and funny he was. After 11 months or so of a long distance relationship, she is moving to Aruba for good. She is giving up a six-figure job with her mother, seen here packing for her. Okay, she has everything in the US: stability, income, a home, a very supportive mother who has done everything for her. Her mom, divorced Chloe's dad when Chloe was about 2, and she built her own business so Chloe could have opportunities. And she is throwing it all away to move to Aruba for a pirate. Now, her mom is packing. Her mom is like, "Are you sure you're going to be okay without your $80 face cream?" And she's like, "Well, that's what I have you for. You'll bring it to me or whatever." Chloe's mom is really disappointed because she works so hard to give her all these opportunities, and she's just going to move to Aruba to live the jolly pirate life. Okay. So her friend gets there after driving 4 hours. Her friend's husband knows Johnny really well. They grew up on the same street. Okay. So he knows exactly what kind of a dirty dog he is. And she feels it is her duty to lay it all out on the table. She's like, "Chloe, listen, you are moving, you are, leaving all your stability, everything behind in the States to go to Aruba for a dude that's already cheated on you." Yes, you heard me right. Johnny has already cheated on her. Johnny went on a boys' trip to Florida, and Chloe saw on social media that he actually took another chick to Florida. And Chloe said that she thought they were exclusive at the time. Apparently, there was some miscommunication along the telephone lines because obviously Johnny didn't think they were exclusive if he was taking another chick on a trip to to Florida. So she's trying really hard. Okay. She's like, "Chloe, remember, he's already cheated on you. There is a certain lifestyle in Aruba. All these chicks come to Aruba to hook up with all the hot guys, and the hot guys are more than willing to hook up with them." Okay. And if you think about it, technically, you could put Chloe in the category of one of those chicks. Okay. A hot chick that flew to Aruba, went on his party boat, and they hooked up. But, it turned into a long distance relationship for them. So she's trying really hard to convince Chloe not to do this. But Yeah, she's going to do it. So, this is why I say this episode was brought to you by the letter D for delusional. Now, speaking of delusional, if Submit actually fucking thinks that things are going to be all flowers and puppies and unicorns with Jenny and his mother living together, Submit lives on planet Delulu. Okay? So Jenny and Submit are back. As you guys may or may not remember, on 90 Day Diaries, Submit said he lost his job and it's really hard to maintain, the apartment that they're living in and pay bills, etc. So the best solution for Submit, not for Jenny, for Submit, is to move in with his family. Now in India, this is a very common thing, okay? Families all live together, the sons with their wives and the children, etc. But for Jenny, this is not a common thing. So for Submit to think that everything is going to be hunky dory, delusional. Okay, so even though, Satna loves Jenny now, it's a whole love fest. Okay, it took a long time to get there. And they gave us, the little reminder of the Jenny and Submit love story. Okay, started off in 2011. Do you guys remember that he actually catfished her in the beginning? She thought he was some dude named Michael Jones, and then he finally admitted who he was and sent her real pictures, and she continued talking to him. Well, they conveniently left that part out in the flashback. So she arrived in 2011, and then she found out he was married. Remember that? Okay. He got a divorce eventually, and she was devastated at the time. Do you remember that heart wrenching scene where she was crying her eyes out that she left everything behind to come to India to find this out? Okay. And it has been a very conscientious relationship between Sadna, Sumit's mom, and Jenny from the very beginning. She was like, everyone is going to make fun of you. They're going to say you're Sumit's grandmother, etc., etc. Okay, Sumit was really, dragging his feet on marrying Jenny until that famous scene where Jenny flipped the fuck out, screamed in his face like Angela, and said, I'm not gonna fucking do this anymore. I am not leaving India again. Because she would have to leave every 6 months since they weren't married. She was like, I am not leaving again. You promised me you were gonna marry me. And she like flipped the fuck out and started smashing things off camera. Until she did that, Sumit finally gave in and said, okay, I'm going to marry her without my parents' blessings, without my mom's blessing. And they got married. And his mom flipped the fuck out. His mom said, if you come to my door, I'm going to insult you and throw you out. But it all has come full circle because suddenly last year, Jenny became the favorite daughter in law. Sadna realized that she has no choice but to accept her. Her husband already did, Sumit's brother, Sumit's sister in law. So basically, the whole family accepted Jenny, and she just decided, something? It's time for me to accept Jenny. But we all know that this is going to be a shit show. It's not going to be one happy family. Sadna is way too controlling. She wants everything her way or the highway, right down to Sumit's hair. Okay? So Sumit is happy as a pig in shit. He is moving back to his parents' house. Okay. He's lived with them all his life. The only time he hasn't lived with them is when he was living with Jenny. And, this is great to him. Jenny is feeling like this is the end of her life as she knows it, the end of her life, period. Okay, she is not looking forward to moving into Sadna's house. Remember, Sadna came over to their apartment once and she was like, oh my God, why is this kitchen so cluttered? Jenny, you're useless. And she was doing nothing but insulting her. Yeah, Submit is fucking delusional. Okay, if he really thinks that everything is going to be hunky dory and everyone's going to love each other and get along perfectly fine and not fight for the bathroom, he is fucking delusional. So Jenny and Submit meet up with his brother and sister-in-law at the market so she could buy some stuff. Okay, and basically Shri, Submit's sister-in-law, tells, first she says that Jenny's way of life is going to drastically change. You see, Jenny likes to wake up when she wants to wake up. She likes to go wherever she wants to go. She'll buy whatever she wants to buy. Shri says when you're in a blended family, especially in India, it doesn't work that way. So Jenny's going to have a lot of adjustments to make, okay? And Shri is starts to tell Jenny about some drama. But um Sumit's brother is concerned that with Sumit and Jenny moving into the house, that his wife's responsibilities will double. And Sumit's like, no, they'll be divided. And his brother's like, dude, Jenny likes to sleep late. Jenny doesn't like to cook. Jenny doesn't like to clean. So all this stuff is going to be on my wife. And that's what I'm afraid of. Okay. So Sumit says that his mom has to give Jenny some time to adjust. Okay. Jenny is used to things her way, and it's going to take some time to adjust. You know that I know that you know there is no way that's happening. Sadna is going to expect Jenny to abide by her rules from the minute she crosses a threshold. There is no um, room for error. There is no negotiation in Sadna's house because she is the matriarch. What says goes. And it's going to be a shit show. Okay. It already was a shit show. So Shri starts telling Jenny about drama that's going on. So she's telling Jenny the story on how her and Sadna are at war now. They had a disagreement where Sadna was like, you never done anything for us. You haven't even made tea for us. You're useless, blah, blah, blah. So Shari's like, okay, you say I've never done anything for you. I never made tea. I've never cooked. I've never cleaned. I haven't done my duties as a daughter in law. Fine. I'm not going to do anything. I really won't do my duties as a daughter in law. And Jenny is like, oh my God, you're scaring me. Oh my God, you're scaring me. Yes, you should be scared, Jenny. Okay. This is going to be a shit show with a capital S, bold, italicized, underlined. Okay. Oh my goodness. So, Submit, Mr. Delusional, it's just, he's so happy. Everything is going to be just fine. His mother is going to give Jenny some time to adjust, and everything is going to be just fine. Okay, so his brother is not so confident. His brother is like, let's see who is going to wind up the favorite daughter-in-law by the time everything is said and done. Now it's moving day. And Jenny is really sad. Jenny is like, buy apartment, buy nice chandelier, buy life the way that I know it, buy freedom, buy everything. So Jenny doesn't want to shit on Sumit's happiness because Sumit is really happy that he's moving back home with mommy. And he's like, we're just going to live there forever. And Jenny's like, hell to the fuck no, we are. But she doesn't want to ruin his happiness. She doesn't want to shit on it. But she's going to have a conversation with him because there is no way that they are going to live there forever. At least that's what she says. So now they're driving to the house, and Sumit's like, you know what you can do that'll make them really happy? You can cook tonight. And Jenny's like, I don't think they're going to like my American food. You can try, my darling. You can try. So they get there, and Sadna is so happy. She does this whole ceremony for them, and it's looking really positive at first. Okay, start moving in the stuff. People are, hoisting stuff from the street up to the roof. I mean, it's a whole moving operation. And Jenny's like, we have way too much shit to unpack. We should hire somebody to unpack our shit. And he's like, we have people here that could unpack for us. We don't need to hire anybody. Of course they do. They have Sadna that could help. So she starts going through Jenny's shit, okay? And she's like, why does she have so many clothes? Why does she have all these old clothes? Shri, take this shirt. She doesn't need it. Jenny's like, what the fuck? Why is she going through my stuff? So she asks Submit, is this a cultural thing or is this a your mom thing? And Submit's like, it's a my mom thing. And Jenny's like, I knew it. I knew it. So Sadna is going through all of her belongings, at which my head would have been exploding if I was in Jenny's position. Like, woman, get your paws out of my shit. And then she finds Jenny's stash. Jenny has a bottle of rum that she uses for medicine. Okay. She gets a migraine every once in a while, does a couple of shots, and the migraine's gone. Hey, Jenny, you do you. Okay. But Sadna, she wasn't having it. She was like, you have alcohol? Why do you have alcohol? And it's like, it's medicine sometimes. No, we have doctors for medicine. Should I break this? Should I throw this? Now, you know what I found really, really interesting? While she was having a fit, Sadna, Cherie's son was busy trying to like swat her. And like, I don't know what the little kid was doing, but it was funny because Cherie kept telling him, no, don't do that. And he was like reaching out, like trying to hit her. I don't know. I guess the little kid is tired of hearing her ranting and raging. I don't know. I just found it funny for a second. Cherie was like, no, don't do that. No, stop. Don't do that. And so, speaking of don't do that, Jenny's like, don't you dare throw my bottle. Don't you dare, lady. I told you it was going to be a shit show, and it's only episode one. Okay. So now, moving on, brought to you by the letter D for delusional, we have Madeline and Luke. First of all, I can imagine how heavy this fucking thing on her head is. Okay. So she's practicing for her pageants. She is Madeline, 20 years old, from Colombia, and she loves pageants. She started doing pageants about a year ago, and she has been in two of them. And in the second one, I win. Okay, did I mention that she is annoying AF and her voice grates my soul? Kind of like on the level of Tiger Silly grating my soul, her voice grates my soul. And I know, according to some of you people, I am the last one to talk about someone's voice because I have an annoying voice. Yes, I've seen the comments, but I'm going to stick with my assessment. Madeline's voice grates my fucking soul. Okay. And she is a child. She is younger than my son. I just want to say this, okay? She is younger than my son. Her fiance Luke treats her like a queen, okay? And after a week, they met on a dating app. Okay, him and his boys went on a boys trip. He basically met her on the first day. After the first week, he's like, I love you. And then he's like, I'm going to move to Colombia. I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to come be with you. And she's like, what? 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 Okay, girl. After 9 months, they got engaged, and he was supposed to have moved down to Colombia already. So they're on Zoom practicing their wedding dance. Okay. She's like, you're the one that hasn't moved down here yet, Luke. So don't, I don't want to hear nothing. You haven't moved down here yet. So in 3 weeks, he is going down there. They're going to get married, and then he's going to stay there permanently. Okay, so the wedding has been really stressful for her. Okay, first, the dance isn't ready because they're trying to practice on Zoom instead of in person. And secondly, she hasn't gotten the helicopter yet. Excuse me? She wants to fly into her wedding in a helicopter. Luke is like, Amor, we have to stick to a budget, okay? Especially since I am practically broke because I made this investment in a jewelry and sunglasses line that hasn't turned a profit. Amor, please, we have to stick to a budget. And she's looking at him like, budget? What does that mean? Yo no sé budget. Okay, so now Luke is meeting up with his dad, who is a smart man. He has made money in investments. He knows what to do. He knows a good investment and a shitty investment. So they're buying shoes for Luke to wear at the wedding because Luke originally was going to wear brown shoes, and Madeline absolutely hates brown. Brown is an old person's color. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I guess that makes me old because I have a couple of pair of brown sandals. So I don't know. I guess that makes me old according to Madeline. So Luke tells his dad, okay, not only is he in debt up to his eyeballs, but he has put money in to this property where he's going to build like this big hotel. And you could just see Luke's dad internally start to panic. He's thinking, my son is moving to Colombia, marrying a child who is controlling and could get hysterical at times. He's already lost money in this sunglass and jewelry line. Now he's going to invest even more money in this high risk investment, okay, for this hotel resort whatever he wants to build. Now Luke may be really smart education wise. He has a degree in mine engineering, a master's in business, etc. But I think when it comes to real life common sense, D for dumb. This episode has been brought to you by the letter D. So Luke's dad breaks down in tears. You think his dad breaking down in tears will make him think a little bit, go over in his head what he's really doing? Is this a good idea? Because he says he does not remember the last time he saw his dad cry. And for his dad to be breaking down in tears in a shoe shop, yeah, I think that should mean something, Luke. But no, 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 we all know he's going to go to Colombia and marry her. Shit show. Okay, so now, finally, D stands for dramatic, not delusional. Okay, man, no, man, no. I'm going to try to say it correctly. Man, no is not delusional in my book. She's just dramatic. Okay, so first of all, Manon is from the south of France, baby. Represent. Okay, and she basically, her story in a nutshell, she is a plus size person in France, okay, and she started social media following her life as a plus size person, and it got very popular because being plus size in France is not the norm. Okay, people look at you and stare at you if you have any sight of curves and you try to wear a bright outfit, you're going to be stared at all day long. Manon took all this, put it into social media, and got herself a social media presence, which got her invited to a plus size denim shoot in LA. She went to LA and she never came back. She found her heart in LA with her plus size girlies community, and She was only missing one thing. She found her man too, even though she originally swiped right on him. But anyway, Anthony, I like these two as a couple. Okay. I think they're cute together. I just think that there is a lot of issues that need to be worked out. And like Manon said, moving to France is not going to fix everything. And at least she is grounded and not delusional by thinking that moving to France is going to be, the fix for everything. So in 3 years, they did a lot. They met, they got engaged, they moved into, no, wait, they met, they moved in together, they got engaged, they bought the house, then they had baby Ben. Anthony is a stay at home father with baby Ben. And according to Manon, he is the best stay at home dad. Okay. But then this, brings feelings. And I get it. I totally get it. She has to provide for the family. She's the provider. He's the stay at home caretaker of their child. And it's hard. I totally get it. It's hard. Okay. So she's at this plus size photo shoot with her girlies, and she breaks the news that they are selling their house and moving back to France because the cost of living, the quality of life, everything is much easier in France. Anthony is going to get a job. She is going to be the stay at home caretaker of Ben so she could form the bond with Ben that Anthony has already formed so strongly. This is where we start going into D is for dramatic. I get it, Menno. You're emotional. You're leaving LA behind. You really don't want to. You found your community. You found your girlies. You feel like you belong here. And the last thing you want to do is go back to France where you feel like you stick out like a sore thumb. But the dramatics from her remind me of Darcy. Okay. First, she was crying really. I'm going back to France. And, so her girlies were shocked, as I would have been shocked if I was one of her girlies because, she has found her identity and her self worth in LA. And now she's moving back to France where it gets shit on, basically. So, like I said, it is really hard for Manon when it comes to, Ben not having the bond with her that he does with Anthony. She, had to go back to work 8 weeks after giving birth. Yeah, I remember going back to work 6 weeks after giving birth. It really sucks. Okay, it really does. And she feels like a shitty mom, which I get it. Manon, you are not a shitty mom, but I get why you feel like a shitty mom. I get it. All the guilt and the feelings and everything else. And the fact that what complicates it more is that moving back to France is the solution, is what you guys see as a solution. But she's torn because, she left France for a reason. Their house is already in escrow, and they have 2 weeks to pack up their shit and move. And guess what? It's been 2 weeks and they haven't packed up a fucking thing. So they're going to have about 88K in proceeds after selling their house. So now they're going to try to sell their car that they owe 27K on. The guy gives them an offer of 15K. Manon is like, let me get this straight. I got to put 12K out of my pocket to get rid of my car. Let me go back in my car and cry. So Anthony wishes that she wasn't so focused on finances. Okay. He's like, having 70K in our account after the sale of the house, you don't consider that, a nice nest egg? And she's like, well, first of all, that's not going to get us anywhere. With a down payment in France, I am not willing to compromise on what I want. I want, I'm not willing to go for a smaller house. I'm not willing to rent. I'm not willing to compromise on these things. And she says it's hard with him because he's the type of person that is just happy with 3 meals, a cot, and a roof over his head, basically. As long as he has shelter and food and his family, he's happy. Manon, on the other hand, has standards and dreams. Nothing wrong with having standards and dreams as long as you're not delusional about it and you don't put yourself in a hole trying to reach those standards and dreams. So these two are not on the same page. They're not on the same page when it comes to finances. They're not on the same page when it comes to quality of life. That's the term I want to use. Anthony, his quality of life, he'll be happy with just a small house on the French, in on the French hillside. That's what I'm trying to say. And as long as he has his son and Manon, he's happy. Now, the other question is, see, this is what I mean. Manon is not delusional. She's like, okay, your command of the French language is not the greatest. So, how are you going to get a job barely speaking French? That's why I say she's not delusional. She's just dramatic AF. So, in this whole car scene, okay, she starts it again. She starts with the crying, the screeching. Well, then why don't you find somebody that's more like you to be with? I'm like, girl, your voice just penetrated my brain. So now I know to lower the volume when her segment's on, okay? Because, like I said, it's like Darcy and even Stacy on Last Resort. I want to be free. Kind of dramatics, okay? Let your emotions out. Hey, I'm all for it, but just take it down a notch. Please, just take it down a notch. So this whole car scene, really, really, really tense. Okay, really tense. Lots of drama. Now they are preparing a charcuterie board, and I know Manon, I probably tortured the shit out of the pronunciation of the word, but um Anthony's family is coming over. And they're involved with Anthony's family, but they really don't know what's going on in their lives. So they're going to announce to Anthony's family that they're moving to France like soon. So this charcuterie board looked mwah, chef's kiss. Okay. So anyway, Anthony tells his family the house is in escrow. They're moving back to France really soon. His father says, "Shut the front door." I cracked the fuck up. Okay. So, Anthony's sister, and this is where I'm going to bring in my bullshit button for this recap.
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
What she did to Manon, even though, in my opinion, this was all probably producer, producer produced, and hey, why don't we talk about these messages? And so Anthony's sister brings up some messages and some talks that Manon has had with her about how miserable she is, how their relationship is falling apart, how she's almost on the brink of divorce. They talked about that. Anthony talked about how all the stress and finances and everything has put them on different sides of the room, that their relationship is at stake and they could be on the brink of divorce. So the fact that the sister decided to bring up private conversations that Manon had with her at the table with everyone sitting there. She could have pulled her to the side. She could have said, Manon, can I speak to you for a moment? And expressed her concerns. But the fact that she did it in front of everyone, including mom and dad.
Warning, warning, bullshit alert.
Okay, so Manon is like, yes, I acknowledge that I've spoken to you about certain situations. Um, the sister even insinuated that Manon wanted to unalive herself at one point because she was so miserable and upset about everything that was going on in her life and her relationship. Really? Did you have to announce that in front of the whole family? Remind me not to tell you any secrets, girl.
That was bullshit.
Once again, thank you, Catherine, for sending me this wonderful bullshit button, which is coming in very handy. So, Manon could not believe that she has betrayed her confidence. And basically, she's like, get the fuck out of my house. Go. Goodbye. Au revoir. Get out. So, that's how this episode ended. It's only episode one. And like I said, this episode was brought to you by the letter D. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching me. Please subscribe if you don't already. Double check that you are subscribed because YouTube likes to play games once in a while and they'll unsubscribe you without you realizing. Please like, comment, share with a friend or 10. Please consider joining my membership. There's a join button down here somewhere, and there is a link in my description box. And check out my merchandise. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.